I don't believe you can just put works on a wall. You have to kind of curate the space and the environment, the setting, the smell, the sound, how you feel when you step inside the room.
Hi Sarah, the last time we interviewed you, you were based in London on scholarship to pursue a Masters in Fine Art at the London Slade School of Fine Art. Back then, you were already involved in many group exhibitions. How have things changed for you in the past 2 years? And what would you say are your biggest accomplishments?
Okay, I think for me, the past 2 years have been very insightful. I enjoyed the experience a lot. I suppose the biggest thing that is, I would say, I guess what I would relate to would be my art practice, right? Most immediately. So for me, I think my art practice is still the same, but it's shifted a little bit. I think before going to London, I focused a lot on the issue of social alienation and isolation with characters that are very much directed and staged. So I would direct my characters a lot. I would tell them where to stand, how to sit, exactly what I want them to do. But I think after going to London, I realized that the issue of social alienation actually doesn't have to be pointed. It doesn't have to be intentionally staged. It is there. It's happening and it's all around us. So my work has developed in the form of making use of, I guess, everyday and mundane objects and scenes. So I use documented footages and then I composite my documented footages to make them look staged, look like they're intentionally set up, but they're actually all made from very normal, ordinary scenes. Yeah, so I think that would be the biggest change for me. And with regards to what's my biggest accomplishment, I think progress is always an accomplishment for me.
Yeah, definitely.
So I would say that any kind of growth is good. I think exposure is also good. I think before that, yes, I was exhibiting in group shows locally, sometimes internationally, but I think the move to London has created more opportunities for me to meet people in person, actually, in different countries, like France, Germany, China, New York. I was able to travel a lot more because I was living alone also. So I suppose to a certain extent that did help my career. Yeah.
Okay, you mentioned that a lot of your work is inspired through your observations around you.
Yes.
So can you tell us a little bit more about that?
Yeah, sure. I think a lot of my works, my artworks, I would say, are almost like coded journal entries. When you look at them, they kind of give off a certain look, a certain feel. But sometimes you're able to articulate what that is, sometimes you're not. And I think a lot of what I'm trying to show people or communicate and try to explain, express to others is what I feel personally, is what happens to me, is my experience with the world. So I think that essentially is what my work is about.
Okay.
Yeah.
You're very young, considering how much you have achieved. What do you think has spurred you on to continue pursuing your passion for the arts in a country like Singapore?
I think with a country like Singapore, I think because our population is so small, so it's of course very competitive, and I think that that has definitely spurred me to work harder and try to achieve my best at everything that I do. So in terms of the question, I think I've been very motivated by my environment thus far, and I think the constant kind of attitude to keep working efficiently as well has definitely spilled over in my work. Yeah.
When you say efficiency, do you think that you're very efficient in like your process of?
I mean, I wouldn't say efficient in the process, but I think it's always about trying to kind of maximize the kind of quality and maximize the production of the work within with limited resources. So for me, I always feel like especially like in Singapore, you have the space issue, right? Just like in London, when I was in London, we have the space issue. So I think like when I'm put into a situation like that, I don't struggle as much because I'm taught to make use of whatever I have to kind of make the best of the situation. Yeah.
Okay.
So all these, what you're seeing here, is kind of my works in progress. Before I do any shows or work, this is how I make my pieces. I would print them out. I would start to draw, write ideas like, okay, so this is about waiting. It's about a hotel being there's this temporary occupation by transparent strangers almost, and then I would start writing. I read and I enjoy reading poetry, so sometimes I would read pages of my books because I'm inspired by them, and then I would start getting really excited, right, and passionate, and then I'll start underlying, and then I would pick them up, and then they're kind of like, it's this whole scene is kind of like my notice board. It's kind of my notice board of ideas, and it used to be like plastered with a lot more, but of course I need to clear them out to like start on a new project.
You have very varied types of like artworks. You have installations, and then you have videos. Can you take us through some of the different modes of art that you work with and you play around with?
I think, okay, so I see myself as a multi-disciplinary fine artist, and this simply means that I do works that are more defined, not defined by their medium, more defined by the theme, the consistent theme that runs throughout the work. So all my works, they have this similar theme of social alienation and isolation within contemporary society. And I feel, and I believe that they all actually to a certain extent depict very identifiable characters in society. And be it in paintings or in my video works, I'm always constantly trying to reflect on that kind of mundane life, reflect on people, reflecting on their mundane life, and also the potential narrative in all the artwork. So with, for example, the hidden dimension, you see that it seems like I'm trying to tell a story here. You see the different characters of my family coming together to do something. However, in my other work, I would say maybe Waiting for the Elevator is another panoramic work. It's similar. Again, you see that those characters there. And again, there's that suggestion of a narrative, but you're not really given the story. So I think that's what's similar in all my works. I don't really want to kind of zoom in on any particular medium because I always believe in choosing the most appropriate medium to convey my intention. So if, for example, the work works best as a painting, I will present it as a painting. If it works best as an installation or an experience, right, in a room, then I would execute the work in that manner. Because I always think it's about the viewer experiencing the work personally, and I would like that to be maximized. Yeah, so I wouldn't zoom in on one particular medium.
So maximized in the like sort of environments that you work in and
exactly.
what comes out of it.
And also in terms of the medium, like what does the medium do to the work? You know, when you are viewing a painting, it's just on a wall and it's flat, right? So the way you view it is more like you're viewing it as an object, like you're admiring it as an object, versus, for example, with one of my upcoming in my upcoming shows in London for the solo exhibition, that would be more immersive. Because it's more about the experience. It's about walking into a space, feeling like you're walking back in time or into a different situation. So then that you can't, or at least I don't believe you can just put works on a wall. You have to kind of curate the space and the environment, the setting, the smell, the sound, how you feel when you step inside the room. Yeah.